The unfair fate of Tai Lung. Tai Lung's pain. History is written by the victors. In the world of Kung Fu Panda, the story of Tai Lung has been told from one perspective, a tale of a villain consumed by ambition. But what if we told the story differently? What if Tai Lung wasn't the villain, but the greatest character in this tale? A hero whose journey was marred by betrayal, misunderstanding, and a fate he did not deserve. Today, we uncover the truth behind Tai Lung's pain, his dreams, and his unjust fate. Part 1. Tai Lung, the orphan who dreamed of greatness. Tai Lung's story begins not with ambition or power, but with vulnerability. Found as an orphan, alone in the unforgiving wilderness, his life could have ended there, forgotten, like so many others. But fate intervened. Master Shifu, a kung fu master known for his discipline, found the helpless cub and took him in. To Shifu, Tai Lung was not just a student. He was a son, a chance to mold a broken life into something extraordinary. And so, Tai Lung's journey began not as a villain's, but as a child yearning for love, belonging, and purpose. With each day, Tai Lung grew stronger, not just in body, but in heart. He wasn't just gifted, he was extraordinary. His dedication to Kung Fu wasn't about power, it was about honoring the love and care he had received from Shifu. To Tai Lung, Kung Fu was more than combat. It was a way to protect, to inspire, and to prove that he was worthy of the life he had been given. Part 2. A destiny denied. As Tai Lung grew, so did his aspirations. Shifu, filled with pride, promised him greatness, and Tai Lung worked tirelessly to fulfill those promises. To him, the Dragon Scroll wasn't just a symbol of ultimate power. It was a testament to everything he had overcome. It was proof that he was more than an orphan, more than a student. It was his destiny. But destiny, it seems, is not so easily claimed. Master Oogway, the wise and enigmatic leader, saw darkness in Tai Lung, not because of who he was, but because of what he had endured. Oogway's decision to deny Tai Lung the Dragon Scroll wasn't based on malice, but caution. Yet to Tai Lung, it was the ultimate betrayal. And what hurt most wasn't Oogway's decision. It was Shifu's. The father who had promised to believe in him stood silent. In that moment, Tai Lung's world shattered. The love he had built his life around was gone, replaced by doubt and rejection. Part 3. The hero who fell. Pain does not create monsters. It creates scars. Tai Lung's rampage wasn't born of evil. It was a cry for help. He lashed out, not because he wanted to destroy, but because he didn't know how to heal. The Valley of Peace. The people he had once sworn to protect became the target of his sorrow. In his final moments of rebellion, Tai Lung confronted the one person who had defined his life, Shifu. But even then, his actions weren't about power. They were about redemption, about forcing the world to see his worth, to acknowledge his pain. And when Shifu defeated him, Tai Lung didn't just lose the battle, he lost everything. Part 4. 2 decades in chains. For 20 years, Tai Lung remained imprisoned. But what the world saw as punishment, Tai Lung saw as reflection. He wasn't plotting revenge, he was searching for answers. Why had fate treated him so cruelly? Why had the love he worked so hard to earn been taken away? Over time, Tai Lung began to see the truth. His pain wasn't born of ambition. It was born of love. Everything he had done, every choice he had made, was rooted in his desire to make Shifu proud. And yet, that love had been his downfall. Part 5. Redemption or ruin. When Tai Lung escaped his prison, it wasn't revenge that drove him. It was hope. Hope that he could still prove himself. Hope that his story could still have a different ending. The Dragon Scroll wasn't about power. It was about finding the truth, about finally understanding his place in the world. When Tai Lung faced Po, he didn't see an enemy. He saw everything he could have been. Po wasn't chosen because he was the strongest or the fastest. He was chosen because he believed in himself. And in that moment, Tai Lung realized the greatest lesson of all. Strength comes not from destiny, but from within. Part 6. The legacy of Tai Lung. Tai Lung's story is not one of villainy. It is one of heartbreak. He wasn't defeated by Po or by Shifu. He was defeated by the world's inability to see him for who he truly was. A hero, flawed but noble, who wanted nothing more than to be loved. Perhaps Tai Lung's greatest legacy is the lesson he leaves behind, that even in our darkest moments, there is strength in vulnerability, that our worth is not defined by others, but by the love and compassion we carry within ourselves. Tai Lung's story may have been one of tragedy, but it is also one of hope, because in his pain, we see our own. And in his strength, we find the courage to rise above it. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If Tai Lung's story moved you, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold stories of beloved characters. Part 7. Shifu's role in Tai Lung's pain. To understand Tai Lung's fate, we must also examine the role of his mentor, Master Shifu. Shifu wasn't just a teacher. He was a father figure, the only family Tai Lung ever knew. In many ways, Shifu created Tai Lung's destiny. He raised him to believe he was special, destined for greatness, and capable of achieving anything. But when the moment of truth came, Shifu faltered. Shifu's failure wasn't just in training Tai Lung, it was in loving him conditionally. Shifu encouraged Tai Lung's ambition, nurtured his dreams. But when those dreams were denied, Shifu didn't stand by him. He didn't offer the guidance or comfort that Tai Lung desperately needed. Instead, he let him face the rejection alone. This was the true wound that broke Tai Lung, not Oogway's decision, but Shifu's silence. For a child who had built his identity around earning his father's love, this silence was deafening. Part 8. Was Oogway truly wise? Master Oogway is often seen as the wisest figure in the Kung Fu Panda universe, but even wisdom is not infallible. His decision to deny Tai Lung the Dragon Scroll was based on fear of what Tai Lung might become. But in doing so, Oogway sealed Tai Lung's fate. Oogway's wisdom failed to account for one critical truth: no one is beyond redemption. By denying Tai Lung without offering him a path forward, Oogway unintentionally created the very darkness he feared. What if, instead of rejection, Oogway had offered guidance? What if he had seen Tai Lung's pain and worked to heal it? In many ways, Oogway's decision wasn't just a turning point for Tai Lung. It was a reflection of the flaws in the system itself, a system that judged potential based on fear rather than understanding. Part 9. Tai Lung's true nature. Throughout his journey, Tai Lung's actions were often misunderstood. While his rage and ambition defined his later years, there were moments that revealed his true nature. Tai Lung wasn't heartless. He was deeply empathetic. He trained tirelessly not just for himself, but because he believed he could protect those who couldn't protect themselves. Even as a child, Tai Lung showed kindness and humility. He believed in justice and strength, not for domination, but for safeguarding peace. The tragedy is that these qualities were overshadowed by the pain and rejection he endured. His descent into anger wasn't a choice. It was a reaction to the world's cruelty. Part 10. The Battle with Po. A lesson in acceptance. When Tai Lung finally faced Po, it was more than just a battle. It was a clash of philosophies. Tai Lung, burdened by years of pain and rejection, saw strength as something to be earned through struggle and sacrifice. Po, on the other hand, represented a different kind of strength, one rooted in self-acceptance and inner peace. In the moment he opened the Dragon Scroll, Tai Lung's world crumbled. The reflection staring back at him wasn't just an empty image, it was a revelation. The power he sought wasn't in the scroll, but in himself. Yet, after years of pain and heartbreak, this realization came too late. Even in defeat, Tai Lung wasn't a villain. His loss wasn't just a physical one. It was the culmination of years of unresolved pain. And as Po stood over him, victorious yet compassionate, Tai Lung was finally confronted with the truth he had been avoiding all his life. His worth didn't need to be proven. It had always been there. Part 11. What if? Tai Lung's redemption. But what if things had been different? What if Shifu had stood by Tai Lung when Oogway denied him the Dragon Scroll? What if Oogway had guided him rather than feared him? Could Tai Lung have been the greatest hero the Valley of Peace had ever seen? In another world, Tai Lung's strength, skill, and determination could have been used to inspire a new generation of warriors. His passion for justice, his drive to protect, these were the qualities of a true dragon warrior. The tragedy is that we will never know what Tai Lung could have become had he been given the chance. Part 12. The Lessons of Tai Lung. In the end, Tai Lung's story isn't just a tale of tragedy. It's a lesson. A lesson about the importance of compassion, of seeing beyond someone's actions to understand their pain. Tai Lung wasn't born a villain. He was shaped by the world around him, by the expectations placed on him, and by the love that was denied him. His story reminds us that even the strongest among us can break under the weight of rejection. But it also shows us the power of empathy. What if someone had truly seen Tai Lung for who he was? Could his story have ended differently?
I have come home, Master.
This is no longer your home, and I am no longer your master.
Yes, you have a new favorite. So where is this? Oh.
You always knew. But when Oogway said otherwise, you knew I was the Dragon Warrior. What did you do? What did you do?
I'm sorry.
Nothing.
Tai Lung's legacy. Tai Lung's legacy isn't one of failure or villainy. It's a legacy of potential, of strength, and of a heart that longed to be understood. His pain may have defined his journey, but it doesn't have to define his memory. In his story, we find a mirror to our own struggles, a reminder that even in our darkest moments, there is a spark of light waiting to be found. Thank you for watching. If Tai Lung's story resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Who else's story should we explore next? Let us know in the comments.